You ever pull some loose change out of your pocket and wonder if there's treasure hiding in plain sight? You might want to take a second look at that old penny rattling around in your glove box or coin jar. Because if that penny happens to be a 2060 Lincoln Memorial penny, you could be sitting on a small fortune. And I'm not talking about a few $100, I'm talking about one specific 2060 penny that's valued at a whopping $1.8 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's real. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. We're going deep into the story behind this unassuming little coin, how it skyrocketed in value, and how you can figure out if the one you've got is just spare change or a jackpot. Stick around, because by the time we're done, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's set the scene. It's 2006. Gas is a little over $2 a gallon. Smartphones aren't glued to every hand just yet. And somewhere in Denver, the U.S. Mint is pressing out millions of standard Lincoln Memorial pennies, the kind we see every day. And now here's the twist. Among these countless coins, a tiny number were struck with a unique combination of features, flaws, minting oddities, and perfect timing that would eventually make them rare and wildly valuable. We're talking about the Lincoln Memorial design with the D Mint mark, signifying it was made in Denver. That in itself isn't unusual. What's unusual is what happened during and after minting. You might be wondering, how does a 1-cent coin from the 2000s get anywhere near a 7-figure price tag? Well, it didn't happen overnight. It started with collectors noticing some oddities. First up, rarity. Although millions of 2060 pennies were made, only a few came off the line with minting errors so specific and clean that they caught the eyes of experts. One of those is known to exist in pristine, uncirculated condition, a coin that's virtually flawless under magnification. Second is condition. Coin grading matters a lot. A penny that looks good to the naked eye might only be worth face value, while a coin graded MS70 by PCGS, which means mint state perfect, is a different story. The $1.8 million penny we're talking about? It's one of those few elite coins. Not mistakes like you and I make, but anomalies in the minting process. Some 2060 pennies were struck on improper planchets or showed doubling in the design. Others have ghost images, off-centers, or subtle die breaks. These flaws don't subtract value, they add it, big time. And finally, collector demand. The Lincoln cent is one of the most collected coins in U.S. history. When a rare example like this surfaces, it doesn't sit still. Wealthy collectors, investors, and even museums want their hands on it. That drives the price into the stratosphere. So, what exactly happened to make this coin different from the rest? And more importantly, how can you tell if your 2060 penny might be the one? We'll get to that in just a moment. A few years back, a man in Oklahoma was helping his grandson roll coins for a school fundraiser. Just an everyday task. As they were going through a coffee can full of pennies, something about one of them made him pause. It was shinier. Crisper. Still had its luster after sitting around for years. He tossed it aside, planning to throw it into a coin flip and check it out later. That night, he opened up an old coin reference book, then followed it up with a few searches online. What he discovered? That penny matched every detail of the ultra-rare 2060 Memorial with die flaws and full red brilliance. He sent it off to be graded. A few weeks later, he got the call. Not only was it real, it was one of the best preserved examples ever seen. Before long, it was auctioned off to a private collector for $1.8 million. From a coffee can to a small fortune now, you may not have that exact coin, or maybe you do. Let's find out what to look for. But not too technical. Here's how you can spot a potentially valuable 2060 penny. First and foremost, make sure the coin has the D Mint mark just below the year. No D? No deal. It has to be from the Denver Mint. Look at Lincoln's hair, his coat, and the lettering. Is everything sharp and clear? That's a good sign. Wear and tear mean it's been circulated, likely not worth much unless other rare errors exist. Coins that retain their full red copper color are significantly more valuable. Brown or dull? Not so much. Where the date or letters look shadowed or doubled, where the image isn't perfectly centered, raised lines or cracks from a worn die struck on metal meant for another coin, like a dime. Any one of these, especially in a coin that's otherwise pristine, can send its value soaring. Many people throw these away, or worse, spend them without realizing what they have. First, don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning a coin can ruin its value instantly, and next, take clear, high-resolution photos of both sides. Then, send it to a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. Their authentication and grade are what gives your coin legitimacy in the marketplace. Listed on a premium auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, contact coin dealers who specialize in Lincoln Cents. Attend a national coin show and shop it around. You don't have to be a seasoned collector to make this kind of money. You just have to pay attention, know what to look for, and take the right steps once you've got something promising in hand. Here's a little secret most people don't know: the penny that sold for $1.8 million? It wasn't the only one of its kind. Experts believe there could be as many as 3 or 4 more out there, still ungraded, still unclaimed, still hiding in change jars, old dresser drawers, or forgotten piggy banks. Think about that. Somewhere right now, there's another man, maybe just like you, walking around with a small fortune in his pocket and no idea. Maybe he picked it up from the gas station, or maybe it's been sitting in his kitchen junk drawer for a decade. So now you know. The 2006 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny isn't just pocket change. For the rarest few, it's the ultimate hidden treasure. With just the right mix of rarity, condition, and luck, one little copper coin can unlock a fortune most of us only dream about. So here's your next move: check your change. Go through those jars. Talk to your kids, your parents, your grandkids. This isn't a myth. It's real, it's possible, and it's out there. And if you do find something, let me know. Because the next penny millionaire just might be watching this video right now. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Imagine reaching into an old coffee tin, brushing aside some dusty pennies from the 90s, and suddenly spotting one with a little D under the year 1992. Now, what if I told you that tiny coin could make you $1.9 million richer? Hey there, fellas. Whether you're tuning in from your garage workshop, your comfy recliner, or maybe you're just sifting through an old drawer full of change, this video could change the way you look at every single penny in your home. Especially that one copper-colored coin from 1992. Because today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1992 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny, a coin that looks just like the rest but hides a multi-million-dollar secret. And by the time we're done, you might just be grabbing a magnifying glass and heading straight for your coin jar. And now, first things first. Let's set the stage. The year is 1992. Bill Clinton is running for president, grunge music is echoing through car stereos, and coin collectors aren't thinking twice about a regular old penny from Denver. But hidden in plain sight, a few of those pennies were minted with a flaw so rare and so subtle, even lifelong collectors missed it for years. And it wasn't until decades later that one lucky soul discovered what now sits at a staggering market value of $1.90 million. What makes it so special? That's where the story gets good. From 1959 to 2008, the Lincoln Memorial reverse design sat proudly on the back of the penny. And up front, good old Abraham Lincoln stared off into the distance, as calm and determined as ever. And now look closely. On most 1992 D pennies, you'll see bold, distinct lettering where the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" are well defined. But there's one word that really matters: America, more specifically, the spacing between America and United States. In a typical penny, there's a small gap between the words. But on this ultra-rare 1992 D, the spacing is tighter. So tight, it's called the close AM variety. It might sound minor, almost laughable, but here's the cliffhanger: that single mistake, a gap of mere fractions of a millimeter, is why this penny is now worth more than most people's homes. Let's rewind a bit. Because to truly understand why this close AM error matters, we have to peek behind the scenes at the US Mint. In 1992, 2 types of dies were being prepped, one for business strike coins and one for proof coins. Now, proof coins are the shiny, high-polish ones made for collectors, not for pocket change. What happened was someone at the mint accidentally used a proof die meant for collector coins on a batch of circulation pennies. These were the ones with the close AM design. And instead of being limited to collectors' hands, they were unleashed to the public, thrown into vending machines, wallets, gas station registers. Just think about that. A multi-million-dollar coin passed from hand to hand, maybe used to buy a soda or tossed into a tip jar. And it gets crazier. Only a handful of these 1992 D close AM pennies are known to exist. One surfaced in a random collection. Another was pulled out of circulation by sheer luck. The coin that fetched nearly $2 million? It was tucked away in a box, forgotten, until someone with a sharp eye spotted the narrow spacing and realized what they had. And I'll tell you right now, more could still be out there, maybe in your house. Maybe in your glove compartment. Maybe sitting in your childhood piggy bank. Let's take a closer look at how to spot one for yourself. Alright, gents, here's where things get hands on. If you've got a 1992 D penny nearby, grab it now. If not, make a mental note, because this is the part that could make you rich. You flip it to the back. Look at the words United States of America. On the regular penny, there's a visible gap between the A and the M in America. That's called the wide AM, but on the rare version, the one worth more than a Ferrari, those two letters are practically touching. That's your close AM, and if that D mint mark is stamped under the year on the front, boom, you might be holding a 7-figure prize, but don't rush off just yet. There's more you need to know before cashing in. The 1992 D close AM penny that hit $1.9 million wasn't just rare, it was in near-perfect condition. That means no scratches, strong luster, and all the details sharp and clear. But here's the kicker, even if yours isn't in perfect shape, it could still fetch tens or hundreds of thousands. The worst thing you can do is ignore it or toss it in with the rest of your change, and there's a twist coming up, because not everyone who finds a 1992 D close AM actually knows what to do next. Say you find one. Heart's racing. Your hands are trembling. You know you've got something that could change your life. Do not scrub, polish, or wipe it. A clean coin is a ruined coin in the eyes of collectors. You'll want to send it to a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll assess the condition, verify it's legit, and seal it in a tamper-proof case. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stacksbowers are known to handle rare coins like this. And with demand rising for rare US coinage, million-dollar payouts are no longer fairy tales. What if your 1992 D close AM isn't worth the full $1.9 million? What if it's got a ding or scratch that knocks it down to, say, $150,000? These are the kinds of decisions collectors wrestle with. And believe it or not, many folks have walked away from massive deals because they believed their penny had more potential. And now let's dig into the psychology behind this and how you can make the smartest call. Point: one man in Ohio found a close AM penny during his lunch break. He kept it in a velvet pouch for months before deciding to sell. The winning bid? $813,000. Another collector sat on his coin for nearly a decade. When he finally sold, he walked away with $1.6 million and used it to buy a beach house in Florida. These aren't just coins anymore. They're legacy builders, and if you're sitting there thinking, I've got buckets of old change at home, then it's time to check. Because the next story could be yours. But before we close, there's one last twist you need to hear. The US Mint is still discovering minting errors from decades ago, and some experts believe there could be fewer than 10 of the 1992 D close AM pennies in existence. That means with each one found, the value of the next one goes up. We're talking the kind of investment you can retire on. The kind that turns a lucky afternoon into a life-changing moment. So don't just listen to this and move on. Check those coin jars, dig through your old drawers. Call up your uncle who's been hoarding pennies since the 70s, because that one unassuming copper coin might just be your ticket to a life you never thought possible. You've been watching the tale of the legendary 1992 D close AM Lincoln penny, a story of mystery, money, and minting mishaps that led to million-dollar treasures. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment if you've got a rare coin story of your own. And remember, next time you're handed a penny and change, don't underestimate it. Where coins meet cash and old change could mean new wealth. Today we're diving into something truly surprising, the humble 2013 Lincoln penny, the one you might just have sitting in a jar, in your glove box, or under your couch cushions, could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1 million. That's right. 1 penny. No mint mark. Just plain old copper-plated zinc. And it's making headlines in the coin collecting world for all the right reasons. Before you roll your eyes or reach for another coffee, let me just say this isn't just about luck or wild guessing. There's a fascinating story behind this rare penny's value, and by the end of this video, you'll not only know what makes it worth a fortune but how to check your own pennies for the same traits. So grab your coin jars, maybe even a magnifying glass, and stick around. You're going to want to hear every detail. Especially what we reveal at the end, it might just make your day. Let's start with the basics. In 2013, the US Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents. They were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but here's where it gets interesting. The Philadelphia mint coins carry no mint mark. Pennies made in Philly often skip the mint mark. But in the sea of 2013 pennies, a few coins were struck with an odd combination of features that have left collectors stunned. What's one of the biggest red flags? A flawless, sharp strike on both sides, clean lettering, and in some cases, an error so rare it only appears in a handful of coins. Millions of coins roll out every day, but once in a while, just once, something slips through that shouldn't. And in 2013, one of those slip-ups made a penny worth more than most homes. Let's pause right there. I know what you're thinking, how does a 1-cent coin make that kind of leap? Well, it starts with what collectors call die varieties and error types. But don't worry, I'll break it all down for you. The $1 million 2013 penny isn't just about age. It's not even about metal content. It's about rarity, condition, and unintentional design errors that were never supposed to leave the mint. The 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with what experts describe as a double die obverse. That means Lincoln's portrait, the words "In God We Trust," and even the word liberty may appear slightly doubled under close inspection. It's subtle, but powerful. Another detail collectors are chasing is a reverse die clash. That's when part of Lincoln's profile gets ghosted into the backside of the coin. It's spooky, and worth big bucks. Now here's where things start to heat up. Coin experts have certified a tiny handful of these flawed 2013 pennies in mint state, meaning they are nearly perfect despite being circulated. One such coin fetched close to $1 million at auction. Not a prototype, not a test strike, but a regular penny, with just the right combination of errors, clarity, and preserved quality. And here's the twist. These coins weren't discovered in fancy dealer vaults. They were pulled from pocket change, garage sales, even roadside diners. Let that sink in while we shift gears. It's a quiet Sunday morning, you're sipping your coffee, flipping through old coins out of boredom. You spot a 2013 Lincoln penny, think nothing of it, but then you notice something off. A little shimmer where it shouldn't be. A strange outline behind Lincoln's jacket. Could it be? That's the exact moment collectors dream about. Start by checking every 2013 penny you have, especially ones with no mint mark. You'll want to use a magnifier or coin loop and pay close attention to Lincoln's face and jacket for doubling or extra lines, the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, looking for shadows or clash marks, unusual spacing or thickness in the numbers 2013. If you spot anything strange, don't dismiss it. These traits are the goldmine, and here's a cliffhanger for you. There's one 2013 penny out there, still not discovered, that experts believe was struck using a retired die from 2009, with faint remains of the bicentennial design. It's the ghost of Lincoln past, hidden in plain sight. Let's talk about the money. Because at the end of the day, you want to know, who's paying $1 million for a penny? Well, it's not just eccentric collectors. Wealthy investors are buying rare coins as tangible assets, like gold, but more portable. Some hedge funds even buy high-value coins as long-term stores of value. Think of it like buying artwork, except you could find this artwork in your change. Auction houses like Heritage and Stacksbowers regularly handle these rare coin sales. And once a coin is certified by NGC or PCGS, its value skyrockets. One retired machinist in Ohio found a rare 2013 penny and nearly threw it away. It later sold at auction for over $987,000 after grading. Life-changing money, for a coin he'd almost dropped in a vending machine. Now, imagine how many more might be out there, just waiting for someone with a good eye and a little patience. Don't clean it. Ever. Leave it just as it is. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value in seconds. Take clear photos in good lighting. Front and back. Zoom in on any error you see. Then visit the websites of NGC or PCGS, the top two grading services. For a small fee, you can submit your coin for authentication. If they confirm it's the real deal, you'll receive a sealed certificate, known as a slabbed grade. From there, it's auction time, and remember, even if your coin isn't worth $1 million, it could still fetch hundreds or thousands based on condition alone. A perfectly preserved penny with even a minor error can be worth more than you think. Some experts believe the most valuable 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny hasn't even been found yet. One theory says that only 12 of these ultra-rare misstrikes were ever produced, and fewer than half have been located. This is your moment. Go check those jars. Dig through those drawers. Take a second look at that coin you almost tossed in a tip jar. You might just be holding $1 million piece of American history. If this video inspired you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe because we've got more coin stories coming your way. And next time, we'll be talking about a nickel that's worth more than a Corvette. Stay sharp, stay curious, and never underestimate what's in your pocket. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, 1 cent could be worth more than a beachfront house or a luxury sports car. You heard that right. One tiny, coppery Lincoln penny minted in 1970 with a little d under the year has been making headlines. Why? Because it's been valued at a jaw-dropping $1.1 million in today's coin market. Now, before you check your piggy bank or dive into that old jar in the garage, hang tight. This is not just about luck. There are specific details, hidden markers, and minting mysteries that turn an everyday penny into a millionaire's secret. And by the time we're done, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to identify it, and how to make sure you're not sitting on a goldmine without knowing it. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's unravel the story of the 1970 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny. The $1 million cent hiding in plain sight. Let's roll the clock back to 1970. America was deep in change: Vietnam protests, Apollo 13's near disaster, the Beatles had broken up, and Richard Nixon was in office. Meanwhile, at the Denver Mint, a quiet revolution was taking place. In copper, the 1970 D. Lincoln penny was part of the Memorial Series, featuring the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. At first glance, nothing seemed extraordinary about it. Billions were minted. But here's where the story begins to twist. Among these billions, a handful came out different, flawed, special. Minting errors, variations in die, and striking quirks created a coin that collectors today would pay a fortune to get their hands on. And I mean a serious fortune, but what could possibly make a common coin become rare overnight? Now here's where it gets exciting. The key to the 1970 D penny's value lies in what collectors call a double die obverse or DDO. On certain rare 1970 D pennies, the inscriptions on the front, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and even the date itself appear slightly doubled. Not by accident, but due to a mistake during the minting process. The dies used to stamp the coins were misaligned, producing a ghost-like doubling effect. This was no ordinary doubling. It's crisp, noticeable, and, to the trained eye, unmistakable. And when a collector finds a 1970 D penny with this kind of error, the price tag can explode. Some 1970 D pennies with these errors were also struck on the wrong metal planchets, or came out with additional die varieties and even off-center strikes. One in particular, authenticated by a leading grading service, sold for well over $1 million at auction, and that leads to a simple but thrilling question. Now, let's get practical. Here's how to spot the golden needle in the haystack of pennies. Start by flipping through your 1970 D pennies. Look for the small d mint mark under the date. That's the first step. Next, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Examine the letters closely. If "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" seems to have a slight shadow, a doubling effect, or a second outline, your heart should start beating faster. Also check the date. On rare 1970 D double die coins, the numbers will look as if they've been stamped twice. The doubling should be clean, not blurry. Another sign? Coins struck with strong relief and clean, sharp details indicating that they came from a fresh die and were not part of the worn-down batches that usually show up in circulation. And here's a kicker: some error coins were actually struck on 1969 proof blanks, which creates a strange, higher quality appearance, making them all the more desirable to collectors. Don't worry, we're going to break it down further. You might be wondering, why would someone pay over $1 million for a penny? Well, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. For some, it's a high-stakes investment game, driven by rarity, condition, history, and desirability. The 1970 D double die penny checks all those boxes. It's rare. Only a handful are confirmed to exist. It's got a fascinating backstory: a minting error during a politically and socially charged era of American history, and it's desirable. Not just because of what it is, but because of what it represents: the dream that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon a piece of history worth millions. Just think about it: an old drawer, a forgotten coffee can, or an inherited jar from a grandparent might hold the ticket to financial freedom. But we're not done yet. Let's talk about what condition does to the value. Point 2: identical coins. Same year. Same mint mark. Same error. Grading agencies like PCGS or NGC rate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of 60 and above is considered mint state. The highest grades, MS66, MS67, and up, command the top dollar. A 1970 D penny with the rare double die error, graded MS67 red? That's the unicorn. The color matters too. A coin graded red means it's retained its original coppery brilliance since the day it was minted. Red, brown, or brown grades are good, but not $1,000,000 good. So if your penny has the right error and shines like a new coin under light, it could very well be the real deal. The only thing standing between you and your coin's fortune is professional authentication. And here's where things get serious: you need to get it graded by a professional. This isn't a job for your local pawn shop. Send it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine your coin, verify its authenticity, grade it, and seal it in a protective case. That grade will define your coin's market value, and collectors rely on it when buying or bidding. Think of it like getting a classic car appraised. Without the official paperwork, it's just a rusty old Mustang. With the paperwork, it could be worth six figures. Auctions, private collectors, even museums could come calling. Somewhere in America, in someone's house, tucked in a drawer, inside a dusty cup holder, lies another 1970 double die penny. Waiting.it could be in your possession right now. That penny, overlooked by millions for decades, has turned ordinary people into millionaires overnight. And it's still out there. So the next time you hold a penny in your hand, especially a 1970, don't dismiss it. Examine it. Study it. You just might be holding a piece of American history, and your ticket to a life-changing fortune. Don't forget to check every penny, because sometimes, it only takes 1 cent to change your life forever. Hey there, gentlemen, now let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you looked closely at a penny? Not just tossed it in your pocket, not just shoved it in a coin jar, but really looked at it, because if you've got a 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial penny sitting around, you might be holding onto a life-changing coin. Not just worth a few dollars or even a few thousand, this particular one has shaken the coin world by storm, landing a staggering market value of $1.2 million. Yes. 1 penny. 1 small, copper coin. A piece of spare change that could mean financial freedom. Today, we're going deep into the mystery, the history, and the money behind the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. But before we get to the why, let's rewind the clock, back to where this journey started. 1909. Abraham Lincoln becomes the first actual person featured on a U.S. coin. It was a big deal. The coin marked Lincoln's 100th birthday and a shift in how America wanted to honor its heroes. Fast forward to 1959, the Lincoln Memorial design enters circulation, replacing the wheat ears on the reverse. This design stuck around for decades, and then came 1971. A year of big change, disco fever, muscle cars, and one little penny that ended up turning heads 5 decades later. But this wasn't just any penny. It was a no-mint Mark 1971 Memorial Lincoln cent, an ordinary coin on the outside, but an incredibly rare gem to the trained eye. And now, you're probably asking, what makes this tiny copper coin worth over $1 million? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. You're holding a 1971 penny. You flip it over. Lincoln is sitting tall in the memorial. It looks normal, right? But now, the real detective work begins. First, check the front. Look right under the year, 1971. If there's no mint mark below it, meaning it doesn't have a small d or s, then congratulations, you've cleared level 1. But hold on. Don't go booking your trip to Hawaii just yet, because not all no mint mark 1971 pennies are valuable. In fact, most are worth just 1 cent. So what makes some of them worth a fortune? That's where the magic comes in. You've got to look at the metal composition, the strike quality, and the error characteristics, and this is where the $1 million mystery unfolds. Let's crack it open. In 1971, the U.S. Mint was striking pennies in mostly copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc, to be precise. That's important, but here's what happened. Some of these no-mint mark coins were struck on leftover planchets, the round metal blanks used for other coins. These planchets weren't supposed to be used for regular pennies. Some were thinner. Some had silver traces. Some were slightly off in weight. And some had double dies. And that's the secret. The most valuable 1971 no-mint mark penny ever discovered had a perfect storm. No-mint mark struck on an experimental or off-metal planchet double die obverse, meaning Lincoln's face, and especially the date and the word liberty, had a ghosted second image slightly off the first. This double die error is what collectors dream about. It's rare. It's dramatic. And it's incredibly hard to fake. A man in Ohio, let's call him Joe, was sorting through an old drawer of coins passed down from his father. Nothing fancy. Just a bunch of change stored in an old tobacco tin, and there it was. A reddish penny that looked a little odd. A bit more shine. a little thicker around the edges. Something told him to hold on to it. Months later, he took it to a local coin show. The guy at the booth took one look and said, "You need to send this to PCGS." Immediately, that coin came back graded MS67RD with a confirmed double die obverse, $1.2 million at auction. That one coin changed Joe's life, and here's the kicker: he almost gave it to his grandson for his piggy bank. The Philadelphia Mint was notorious back then for skipping the mint mark on some coins. 1971 was no exception, but there's more. The mint was transitioning equipment, which led to a batch of pennies being struck incorrectly. A few of those pennies escaped. They weren't supposed to. But some made it into the wild. Experts believe fewer than 10 examples of this specific error exist. Most are in collections. A few are still out there, undiscovered. Sitting in a drawer, a coffee can, a glove box, maybe even your pocket right now. Now that you're probably ready to tear through your change jar, hold on. Let me guide you through it so you don't miss out. Look for doubling in the letters, especially Liberty, and the date. Weigh it. Standard pennies should weigh around 3.11 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, that's a red flag in a good way. Get it graded professionally. Do not clean it. Do not rub it. Just place it in a soft cloth and get in touch with PCGS or NGC. And remember, this isn't just about money. This is about legacy. Why are these coins skyrocketing in price? Because demand is high. Supply is disappearing. And baby boomers are passing down old collections faster than ever. The coin market is going through a golden era. Investors, collectors, and dealers are all chasing that 1 in a million coin. And the 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is one of the rarest of the rare. Experts say the next perfect condition specimen could fetch over $2 million within the next 5 years. Are you going to be the guy who sells his for life-changing money, or the guy who accidentally spends it on coffee? 10 years ago, I didn't think much of coins. To me, they were just dead weight in my pockets. Then one day, my uncle handed me a tiny box of old coins. Just something to look over before throwing out. Inside was a 1969 penny with doubling on the date. I got it authenticated. It wasn't a $1 million coin, but it was worth $20,000. That moment changed everything. Now, I look at coins differently, and so should you. You might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it, and this 1971 penny, it's just the beginning. You've learned the history. You know the signs. You've heard the $1 million story. And you now have the tools to check your own change and potentially unlock a fortune. The 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of luck, of legacy, of hidden wealth hiding in plain sight. Don't throw your pennies in the jar, look closer. Check your drawers. Go through your old coffee cans, because that small copper coin could be your ticket to something big. Come back and tell us, because one of you watching right now might just be holding the next $1 million coin. Make sure to like and subscribe. I've got more rare coin stories on the way, and trust me, they're only getting crazier from here. Where pocket change could change your life. Today, we're diving into a very specific and wildly surprising coin, the 1976 Memorial Lincoln penny. Now, at first glance, it looks like any other penny you might find in your junk drawer, stuck between couch cushions, or rattling in an old piggy bank. But here's the kicker: one of these ordinary-looking copper coins has fetched a jaw-dropping $1.3 million on the market. That's right. $1.3 million. And no, this isn't a myth, a rumor, or a tall tale passed around coin clubs. This is real. One rare variation of the 1976 Lincoln cent could transform your financial future overnight. Before you shrug off your loose change as worthless, stick around. Because in the next 30 minutes, we're going to uncover exactly what makes this penny so special, how to identify if you have one, and the jaw-dropping story behind its $1 million value. Plus, I'll share the mistakes collectors make that cost them thousands, even millions, and the secret traits that separate a regular penny from a life-changing one. So grab your coffee, sit back, and prepare for a deep dive into a coin that might just be the hidden treasure sitting right in your home. Let's start with the basics, the 1976 Lincoln Memorial penny. It was minted in Denver, as marked by the small D mint mark under the date. Now, 1976 was a big year for America, the bicentennial. While quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins got flashy redesigns to celebrate 200 years of independence, the penny kept its classic look: Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, but it's that simplicity that makes this coin so easy to overlook. Millions of them were produced. Billions of pennies have passed through our hands since then. So why is this one worth a fortune? Here's where it gets fascinating. Not every 1976 D penny is valuable, far from it. But one very rare error, one unique combination of metal and strike, created a penny so rare it became the holy grail for collectors. It wasn't even discovered in a bank vault or auction house. It was found by an everyday American, just like you going through a small pile of coins on the kitchen table. So how can you tell if you have the rare one? Keep watching, because what you're about to learn could literally put six figures in your bank account. Most people glance at a penny and toss it aside. But serious collectors know the devil is in the details. The rare 1976 D penny that sold for $1.3 million had several things going for it. First, the metal composition. Most 1976 D pennies were made of copper-plated zinc or bronze. But the rare ones? They were accidentally struck on experimental planchets, coin blanks, made from different compositions. One of the $1 million versions was struck on a silver planchet. That's right, a penny struck in silver, possibly intended for another denomination. Second, the die error. This refers to a mistake made when the coin was struck, like a double die, off-center strike, or weak lettering. The valuable version of this penny often shows a sharply doubled image on the date or the lettering, especially the word liberty or the motto "In God We Trust." The mint condition. The $1 million penny was never used in circulation. No scratches, no discoloration, no dents. Just pristine, untouched brilliance. Graded at MS67, read by professional grading services, the highest you can hope for in a coin of this at GE.so. Now you're probably thinking, okay, that's great, but how do I know if mine is one of them? Don't worry, we're getting to that. But before we dive into identification tips, let's take a short detour, because the history behind this coin's creation reveals why these errors even happened in the first place, and trust me, it's more scandalous than you might think. In 1976, the US Mint was under immense pressure. Between the bicentennial redesigns, rising inflation, and debates over switching metals to save costs, the mints were operating at full throttle. Especially the Denver Mint, which produced billions of coins that year. With all this hustle came mistakes. Some planchets were mixed up. Some dies were misaligned. And occasionally, a coin would be struck under incorrect conditions, unnoticed by quality control. That was likely an accident caused by switching between coin types during production. Imagine a planchet meant for a silver dime or a foreign coin slipping into the penny press. Just one tiny mix-up, and you have a coin that doesn't belong. That's the golden ticket right there, but here's the wild part. The mint workers didn't notice. The quality inspectors missed it. That penny slipped into a bag with thousands of others, shipped out across the country, and quietly landed in someone's change. For years, it sat unnoticed. Maybe it passed through hundreds of hands, or maybe it was tossed in a drawer and forgotten. Until one day, someone looked just a little closer. Think about that. A penny worth over $1 million, living undercover for decades. Let's talk about real people who struck gold with their change. A man in Ohio found a rare 1976 D error penny while coin roll hunting, just $25 in loose change from the bank, and there it was. Another collector in Kansas spotted a double die version of the 1976 D in a flea market for 5 cents. He flipped it later for over $200,000. These stories aren't unicorns. They're proof. The rare coins are out there. Hiding in collections, hiding in jars, hiding under car seats, and right after this, we're going to give you the checklist you need to follow to check your 1976 D pennies and potentially find the $1 million one. But first, let's talk about the trap most people fall into and how it's costing them big time. Some people have owned one of these rare pennies and lost it. They spent it. Or worse, they sold it to a pawn shop or a garage sale dealer for $10. Because they didn't know what they had. Others damaged their coins by cleaning them, thinking a shiny penny is a valuable penny. But cleaning coins destroys their value. Even a rare 1976 D penny becomes nearly worthless if it's scratched, polished, or altered. Get it appraised professionally. PCGS or NGC are the gold standards for grading. Without that certification, you're just guessing, and dealers will take advantage. Never rush. Take your time to compare. Look at photos of known $1,000,000 coins. Study their features. Measure the weight. Use a magnifying glass. It could mean the difference between 1 cent and $1.3 million. A normal 1976D penny weighs about 3.11 grams. The rare silver or off-metal ones will be lighter or heavier. Use a precise scale. Look closely at the lettering. Any doubling in Liberty or In God We Trust? That's a strong clue. Look at the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Any off-center strikes? Missing details? Look for unusual surfaces or edges. If the coin looks clean, even, and has 0 scratches, it might grade high. But don't clean it. Just preserve it in a coin flip holder. If it's not 3.11 grams, take it seriously. That's a red flag of a different metal. Take clear photos and send them to a certified grading service. It might cost a little, but if the value is real, the payoff is massive. And here's the kicker: even pennies with partial errors have sold for $10,000, $50,000, even $100,000. So you don't need the absolute perfect coin to win big. You just need the right traits. We started today with a simple question: what if 1 penny could make you a millionaire? It's not just possible, it's already happened. And the 1976D Lincoln Memorial penny is living proof. So the next time you find an old penny, don't just toss it in a jar. Take a second look. Use what you've learned today. Because your future, your house, your retirement, your dream vacation could be sitting right in your change. It's not just about money. It's about what that money can do. And if you're holding one of these rare coins, your story could be next. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone who might be sitting on a small fortune. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the world of rare coins, the next millionaire might be you.